What makes you think you're ready for commitment?
Because the Bible told me so.
Hell no! I was so mad about that.
Bruh, you tripping.
Religion never, ever takes you away from God.
I only had 3 abortions.
Talking Fresh Podcast.
We back at it again.
Yeah.
We back at it again.
Yeah.
Go tell a friend. I'm freestyling. I just thought about this. Oh shit. Pause that. Gotta take a piss.
Okay.
Alright, let's start that. Anyways, back at it again. Episode 16. Yes, I'm smacking on eating though. Fake ass Pop-Tart. The kind that you get from Walmart or Save-A-Lot. They call Toastums. They taste way better. I know all the food stamp people know what I'm talking about.
Oh my God.
But, all right. We're going to turn it up a little notch and bring you... wait, before I get into the topic, let's get some people out the way real quick. We're going to start it off with Freshworks TV on YouTube. Don't just listen to the podcast, it's also watch all the content and the videos that we have put together. Weddings, skits,
Blogs.
music videos. Fuck the blogs. The blogs are old and
They're funny.
they're not entertaining. There was something I was trying to get to, but I never got to it, and eventually turned into what y'all listening to now, the Talking Fresh Podcast. And no such thing as blogs, really vlog, but whatever. All right, so Freshworks TV, please like and subscribe, and also share if you can. Like, subscribe, share if you can, comment, give us your feedback if you want another topic, whatever. With that being said, we're going to keep moving along. Fix a Pic on Instagram, FIXERPIC. Logos, flyers, t-shirt design, all that good stuff to help you manipulate people into buying your bullshit. And we want to also give a shout out to Love Minotti, LOVEMINATI. Yeah, I always get it. He know how to say that shit fast. But follow him. Check him out on The Conversation on YouTube, 2K Life TV. Also, follow Talking Fresh Podcast on Instagram. And make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Freshworks TV, once again. So now, you got anything you want to promote, Ms. Williams?
Oral health. Promote.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. But anyway, so, let me take a sip real quick. My mouth a little.
And dry as toastums.
All right. So this topic, we going off on a little limb. I'm not sure y'all familiar with the RISE model. So we just gonna give you a basic breakdown of what the RISE model is, what it means, and how it can help. So basically, the RISE model is something that I use in school. When we create a community of practices and when we have discussion boards and things of that nature, we used to always have to use the RISE model. The RISE model is an acronym for Reflect, Inquire, Suggest, Elevate. So it's a model, for meaningful feedback or peer-to-peer feedback. So if you want to check it out, you can Google RISE model or go to emilyray.com, and that's WRA. Oh, I guess it's EmilyWray.com, or you can hit up on, if you have a Lynda account, just type in Rise model, and it should pop up a presentation on how to give meaningful feedback. So this was for assignments in school, and after years of using it and starting to become aware of my own relationship, I said, most relationships has communication issues. Most everything has communication issues, whether it's with your mama, your daddy, your sister, brother. Most people in the streets, most of the time you go through things for misunderstanding. And that's my belief. So I thought, shit, if we have to give meaningful feedback on an assignment to someone peer to peer, why wouldn't this model translate over into relationships? So that's why I'm making this podcast, because I feel that the Rise model can help you in your relationship. Now, Ms. Williams, are you familiar with the Rise model?
I am, only because of you, though.
Okay.
But yeah.
So, with us using it before, would you say it's effective?
I would say it's very effective.
Okay, cool. It's what?
It's a very efficient way to, I think, fully get your point across. Get some understanding.
Okay.
Without being confrontational or argumentative.
Okay, cool. So how did I, I kind of told you how I came up with this, putting a twist on the Rise model. I just kind of put two and two together because I felt at the time I was going through an issue, and I was told that the way I come off is maybe asshole-ish, if that's a word, or very aggressive, or
Blunt,
or, like they say, it ain't what you say, is how you say it. Even though a lot of people can use that cliche shit for the most sensitive reasons, somebody can be giving you some good information and you still take it the wrong way because you just might be sensitive. But okay, extrapolating to the point that I took heed of people saying that, or that situation, the person saying that. So I was like, one day I had to do an assignment, and I kind of didn't get into it with the girl, but we kind of got into a debate about why it was some part of the assignment, and I was basically playing devil's advocate, and I kind of was like, damn, this kind of remind me of kind of what I'm going through with the situation. So I was like, damn, you know what? Let me see if I can approach this situation with the Rise model in mind, because I've noticed when I do use the Rise model on people I don't know, obviously, in class and things, I'm like, okay, I'm a little more open-minded, and my communication is more, how can you say it, more clearer. It's more well thought out. I'm not just speaking, I'm actually, following steps. Now, I don't know if all models can, help, but I would like to think that this model does. So with that being said, we're going to go right into it. So the Rise model for meaningful feedback. All right, there's two parts to this. There's one for, God damn, I say a lot.
So do I.
I'm finna stop saying watch this. All right, so there's two parts to this. There's one for peer. God damn it! Gotcha, bitch. So there's one for you to give someone feedback, and there's one for you to give yourself feedback. So we're gonna go into. Let's hypothetically speak. Since we're using this for relationships, we're going to create a scenario. What a lot of people deal with. What's something that a lot of people standardly deal with in relationships? Whether it's man, female, cousin to cousin, like not going together, but like, family relationships. I would say
maybe an instance of disrespect where somebody felt like they were disrespected.
Okay, that's good. I was gonna use the sex one, but I mean,
everybody doesn't have sex.
Yeah, so we're gonna use disrespect. A lot of people feel disrespected. Or we can use a lot of scenarios. You can create any scenario that you want, and we're gonna show you how this works. All right. So you say disrespect. So let's say, for instance, you and me married or in a relationship, friendship, whatever. I feel disrespected. Let's say you spoke, we was at the table out to eat, and let's say you spoke to an old friend, but let's say you didn't introduce me, or you got up and went and spoke to that old friend, and it was a little too long and you was a little too flirty or anything. You know what I'm saying? Let's say something like that. So, like I said, you can replace this with any scenario. So now, the RISE model, instead of most people knee-jerk reaction is to snap quick. I get it. But as you get older, you don't want to always let your emotions get the best of you. So think about this. Yeah, it might get a little awkward because, you probably not in the mood no more. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying to pull this out right there on the spot and like do a presentation of the RISE model. You know what I'm saying? This is after the fact, like when you home or whatever. A lot of people don't know how to initiate a conversation. So this is what's going to help you. So like when something bothering you, most people just shove it off or harness that energy, and then later on they blow up and come out a year later or something. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever the case is. So, all right. So let's say after that, you come back to the table, and whether I played it off like it don't bother me or not, or you obviously see that it's bothering me, but I say, you know what? Instead of blowing up, because now you're an adult now, people, so you should know how to communicate and control your fucking emotions. You're going to make it worse by blowing up and fucking causing a scene. So then who's going to be the responsible person and actually, stop the shit? But anyway, so I say, you know what? Right now, we're not going to talk about it. We'll talk about it another time. Let's just finish our food, blase squaje. All right, so now it's after the fact, and you want to give feedback effectively, not just have somebody have empathy and feel where you're coming from, but they're not really going to, if you don't paint the picture correctly or communicate it correctly, they're more than likely not going to, I guess, project the feedback that you want or the results you want. I'm sorry. So, all right, we're finna get into it now. Reflect. So say you want to give feedback to this person. This part of the RISE model is reflect. That's for the R. It's recall, ponder, or articulate. And this site gives you a whole chart. If you're reading, if you're listening to this, go to the site I gave you, or you can Google it. But it's EmilyWRay.com, and it'll give you the chart.
I think her last name is just Ray.
Yeah, but
W-R-A-Y.
it's spelled with W-A-R-Y, so I was just trying to keep it to what people won't just type in Emily Ray.
Yeah.
But, all right. Reflect, recall, ponder, and articulate. This also breaks down, it says, it gives you an example of saying, I relate, I concur, disagree with X, Y, Z because I like, oh wait, I'm sorry. It say, I disagree with X because Y. Then it says, I like what you did with X because Y. So basically, this is like a reflection of what went down if you're using it for your relationship. What went down, you know what I'm saying? So you can relate in some areas. You might say something positive or whatever. Hey, you might be mad that she was over there talking too long, or him. And you might be like, oh, is that your friend from high school, this and that? Oh, that's cool that y'all met. Whatever, I don't know. I don't know the particulars of the hypothetical scenario right now.
Right.
But, you reflect, you recall, you ponder, you articulate. You know what I'm saying? You reflecting back on what the fuck happened.
You're analyzing the situation.
There you go. Help me out, goddammit.
So you sit down and you think about it. And ideally before you write this part, you want to kind of think about it anyways. Try not to do the RISE model when you're mad or angry.
No.
Or quote unquote feeling some type of way. Wait till you calm down and kind of really think and kind of get your emotions out of the picture, and be more logical.
Okay, and I can say this. You will have a chance to show those mad emotions, because we're going to get to that part. We're going to get to that part. So, yeah, you want to calm down first, and then we're gonna give you a part that's going to help you turn up effectively, you know what I'm saying? So, all right. So, reflect. You just going to kind of reflect on what's going on. Try not to be so fucking, what is the word? Exaggerative? Is that a word?
I don't think that's a word.
All right. Well, that's why I asked. Don't over-exaggerate.
Don't over-exaggerate.
Oh, imaginative. That's what I meant to say. I'm sorry. Too much sugar in this.
Smacking so loud.
Too much sugar in this damn toasting. Got my brain fried. All right, so, yeah, try not to be imaginary. You know how some women do. You know what I'm saying? Y'all take it too far. Y'all throw in the little extra details that wasn't a part of the scenario. Like, no, because then that's going to create another convo. And then if you jump to that convo, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be hard to, get to the solution. So, just stick to one thing. Reflect back on what happened. That's it. Not the night after, the 2 nights before. This is for a specific reason. Boom. So now that you got your reflection, you got all your thoughts together, you tell them what's going on. You tell them what you like, what you don't like. Now you move over to the I and RISE, which is inquire. Now you seek information and or provide ideas through questioning. Okay, so now they give you like an example of saying, have you considered looking at X from Y perspective? When you said X, am I understanding you mean Y? So this is where, you start asking questions to your partner about the situation or how they feel about the situation. Now that you done reflect and you gave them the scenario, now you ask them questions. Okay, so what did you do here? Why did you do this?
And yeah, and this is the time where you have to remind yourself: don't jump to conclusions. Don't assume.
Mm-hmm.
Be open-minded and just kind of seek, like I said, seek information. Don't just try to come up with stuff
Yeah.
because it.
But also, let me add this in too. This is really to be written. Let me repeat that. This is to be written because you think differently when you write versus talking. You're more loose and all over the place when you're speaking, and you can cut people off, and you can let your emotions come back in. No, this is to be written down for the other person to read. Now, what works best for you by them reading it to with you or reading when they're not around you, that's up to y'all. I don't know how y'all communicate. I would prefer not being around each other reading. You know what I'm saying? So it won't be no verbal because this is for more, this is for it's more for reading first, and then you have the conversation later after y'all done evaluated everything. Okay, cool. And this gives the other person a chance to get his thoughts together without him blowing up or feeling he got to be defensive, or he has to, if it's a man, project his masculinity or his ego come into play. Or if it's a woman, she won't feel defensive or, she won't feel all belittled or whatever, or embarrassed, whatever the case is. So now, like we say, inquire, which is the I and rise. So now we went through the R and we went through the I. So now we're going to get to the S. The S is suggest. So now this ain't, I suggest what you need to do it. No, it ain't that. This is the part where you introduce ideas for improvement of the current situation. All right. Now, it might says on your RISE model, I think it's like maybe 2 or 3 verses, like people do their own little wording, but it might say iteration, but we're going to say situation. So this is the part, you might consider tweaking X for Y effect. You might want to include supporting information from X resource. So this is kind of like, this is where you can, you can be factual or hypothetical. You can give another scenario. You can be, you can use an analogy, just to make the person, you kind of like suggesting new ways of going about their actions to get a different result. You know what I'm saying? So you might say, hey, instead of, getting up while we eating, can you wait till we done? And then on our way out, you could holler at your friend or whatever. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being hypothetical. But I know y'all kind of understand what I'm saying for whoever listening to this. So yeah, you want to introduce ideas for improvement, not ego.
Yes, key.
Not ego,
Major
it's
T.
improvement. For improvement. All right.
That's why logic is more important than emotions.
Yeah, not in this
Just
world.
in general.
Emotions outdo logic every day. So that's why we making this goddamn podcast. So you got the logistics of that. You got R, you got I, you got S. Okay? So now we rising, goddammit. You know what I'm saying? We in therapy right now. You know what I'm saying? We finna get y'all motherfuckers together. All right? All right, we cooking now. All right, so E is elevate. Okay. So now this is rise to a higher degree or purpose in future situations. Perhaps you can expand this in X capacity to further address Y. Perhaps you can repurpose X as Y for Z. So now this is kind of like the closing. It's kind of almost like suggesting, but then it's kind of like closing it out. Like, okay, if you, once you suggested something, it's kind of like, just the conclusion of everything. Okay, hey, we to this point now, I suggested everything. I told you what's going on. No, basically, let me say that the right way. I told you what I felt. I gave you information about why I felt it. You know what I'm saying? Then I gave you a solution. So now I'm going to elevate it by saying, if we can work on this, then more than likely I won't feel that way. This will more than likely eliminate future confrontations. So elevate it kind of ties in with suggest, but it's just like I say, it's more of a closing.
And also, so you see what suggest, it says for the current situation. So like,
yeah, that's why I said it's almost the same, but suggest was for current, and then elevate was for the future. That's why I say it's kind of like I just said, it's closing everything up, and then telling you, you know what I'm saying, moving forward. It wouldn't have to be this if we did this, you know what I'm saying? Or however y'all want to clean it up. You don't have to be so technical to the point of the model. It's just giving you, you know what I'm saying, 4 steps that you can take, and you can kind of break them down what works for you. So with that being said, we're going to move on to RISE model for self-evaluation. All right, so now y'all done got everything out the way. Whether you spoke, whether you didn't speak, you might want to do this twice, I think, before you speak to the person and after, because this is the self-evaluation. So say you the person that's reading your feedback, and y'all done had a discussion about it, about fixing the problem. Hopefully nobody got hurt. Cause some people, boy, arguing is just like the first thing they, learned from them childhood.
That is their love language, arguing.
Love language, my ass. Bitch, they just, I say ignorant, or don't have enough reference points to, use other tools. But that's another conversation. So this is for self-evaluation. So it's still RISE, R-I-S-E, still RISE. You want to reflect, okay? This is reflecting upon yourself. Recall, ponder, articulate. Same thing, same premise, but it's a little different. This is where you ask yourself, how did your attitude, logic, and behaviors influence your performance or contribution? What worked? What didn't work? Okay? And be real with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Really be real with yourself. And try to, like I say, remove your emotion. Remove your ego. And just really try. At the very least. And if you listening to this, I'm pretty sure you have it in you, because you listening to it. So try to ask yourself, how did my attitude, logic, and behaviors influence my performance or contribution to the issue that my girl is having, or the issue that my friend is having, or the issue that my mom, etc., etc. Now, hopefully it's a big enough issue to where this is being, taking place. But sometimes I hope people don't abuse this model to where somebody left, a piece of goddamn paper in your car. I mean, I don't eat the RISE model to tell you can just tell, yeah, you know what I'm saying? This is more for meaningful relationships, you know what I'm saying? And maybe y'all don't have too many issues Or maybe you just keep arriving at issues and y'all just keep sweeping them under the rug. You know, you don't know how to communicate. She don't know how to communicate. Only thing y'all know how to do is argue because that's the only tool you have. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, that's their only tool. They probably grew up, all they see their mama and daddy do was that. You know what I'm saying? I know my mom and daddy always goddamn argue. I barely seen them speak civilly. You know what I'm saying? Or like they had some real damn sense. And it could be an educational thing, but you know, that's why we trying to help the less educated, not dummies. You don't mean you're dummies, just less educated on how to communicate. And I think they should have this class all throughout school, but that's another topic because school, you already know. But anyways, back to what we were saying. Now we at the I. Okay, now you don't reflect on yourself. That's R. Now we at the I. That's inquire. Like I say, these gonna be the same words. It's still rise. Same premise, just a little different. Because now it's just you. It's you. It's everything for you. So now you ask yourself, what concepts, techniques do I need to revisit to master the material? Which, like I say, you can reword it to basically to master not arriving to this problem again. You know what I'm saying? And then what resources are available to you? You know what I'm saying? You got to think to yourself like, damn, what kind of resources do I have? Or who can I reach out to? You know what I'm saying? Who can probably help me, or what YouTube video, anything on communication, effective communication. That's one of the biggest problems people have in relationships because it's hard to talk to another human being and you're caught up in your head and your ego and your feelings. We don't want to hear what the other person got to say. And most of the time, I don't want to hear what the other person got to say. But I know how to communicate, so I know how to get outside of myself when needed. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, yeah, I'll be in my world too, my ego. But, you know, you got to step outside of that if you're going to be considered, you know, in a relationship. Mm-hmm. All right. Because trust me, you're going to arrive at a lot of issues dealing with another human being, whether they sane, crazy, educated or not. You're still going to arrive to some type of issue, and you got to know how to, you know, communicate your side of the story, and they got to know how to communicate their side of the story, and then you have to know how to take that information and extrapolate to a better solution. But you wouldn't know, or you wouldn't even get to that point if you don't know, you know, some simple steps like this. All right, so now that you done got to the I, we moving on to suggest. I'm gonna try to chop this up pretty quickly. Suggest, you wanna read that for me?
So again, you're going to introduce ideas for improvement of the current situation. So what could you have done differently to improve your performance or contribution or reaction in some cases? Mm-hmm. And it says, what if you had more time? But that's more from an academic standpoint.
No, not really. If you had, well, it depends on the situation. So it's not academic. It just depends on what's going on. Because, you know, it's like saying if I went off quickly, you know what I'm saying, I snapped. It was like, okay, if you had more time to think it out, what would you have done? You know how some people are like, damn, I would have never punched you in your shit if you know what I'm saying? But whatever. So we're going to kind of breeze through that one. You know, you just suggest to yourself, how can you, you know, improve? What could you have done differently to improve your performance?
In that current situation.
Yeah. So that's simple. That's just like reflecting. All these kind of tie into each other, but it just goes in depth. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because overall, there's one thing. How do I grow? That's all it is. How do I grow in my communication? And communication going to help you be a better person. Simple. You know what I'm saying? But it just breaks it down to certain parts. All right. So now we're going to go to E, elevate rise to a higher degree, or purpose in future. How will you approach similar situations in the future? How will this experience inform your personal and professional goals? How would this experience inform your personal and professional goals? How would you approach similar situations in the future? That's something to think about. And that's just like reflecting, but now you kind of cleaning it up, saying, okay, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. I got all my information. I done talked to her. We done had a discussion. And then now I done did my self-evaluation. So, now, and I guarantee you, if you can just do this shit one time, just try it one time, I swear it's going to make you feel like a fresh breath of air. Because now it's like, oh shit, I ain't know, I ain't know I could communicate so easily. Sometimes if I just don't blow up, or if I just don't jump to conclusions, women.
Or just, hey, don't be jumping on us.
Women.
Y'all do it too.
Women. Oh, you want to rise model now, goddammit?
Oh.
Huh? I'll rise your ass to the goddamn flow.
Whatever.
Huh? What? But, yeah, so.
And I was going to say, you can also use the RISE model for self-evaluation. Like, let's say you were having a road rage incident that led to being in an accident.
Well, we already gave a hypothetical. We don't have to go that way because we're wrapping it up. I'm sorry.
Okay, you can just take that out.
No, you ain't going to take it out. We're going to leave it in.
I was just saying, because you can grow in other ways besides communication if you use this RISE model.
Yeah, you can grow in other ways if you use the RISE model. I might rise up in you. Huh?
No.
Huh?
Are you done?
All right, so yeah. RISE model, man. Try it. Check it out. Leave your comment on YouTube, Freshworks TV, Talking Fresh Podcast playlist. Check out. All right, I ain't gonna say check out too many of the old ones because some of the audio fucked up. But if you want to listen to all the damn podcasts, it's in the playlist. Just let it play from one to all of them. You know what I'm saying? But leave your feedback on this shit. RISE model. This, if we broke it down good and well and effective. RISE model us. God damn it. Yeah, put it on YouTube. Follow us on Talking Fresh Podcast. Yeah, Love Minotti on Instagram. Check my boy LOVEMINATI, and check out The Conversation on YouTube, a show that he on. And anything else you want to say?
Yeah, so check out the What That Mouth Do episodes, part 1 and part 2. They're on YouTube, and learn about oral health.
Yeah, it's number 1, episode 1, and episode.
I don't keep up with the numbers, so I ain't even gonna lie to you.
13 or 14. Should be about 13
What
or 14.
That Mouth Do.
Yeah, so just type in Talking Fresh Podcast, What That Mouth Do.
Mouth with an F.
No, I actually put it the right way on the title, but mouth on the thumbnail, just to be goofy. But yeah, so the RISE model will not work in this scenario. Scenario being, if you come home and catch your wife or your girl cheating, the RISE model will not work for that. Just rise that fire up on their ass.